What do project managers actually do? What is their defined role? A project manager brings everything together. What do I mean by that? They connect the people to the resources and set the direction to accomplish the goals of the project. They connect the people to the process. They have ultimate responsibility to make sure the project is successful. How do they accomplish this? Let's examine the 5 major processes that project managers follow for a successful project.
While the project manager has many responsibilities throughout the life of the project, there are 5 categories or processes for which every project manager has responsibility. These are initiating the project, planning the project, executing the project, monitoring and controlling the project, and finally closing the project. First, we have project initiation. Project managers have the responsibility to initiate or provide the scope for the project. We'll dive deeper into what we mean by scope later, but it is the project manager's responsibility to make sure the customers' and stakeholders' expectations are met by the objectives of the project. It is also important for the project manager to understand the business environment. This includes understanding your company's strategic direction as well as the strengths and weaknesses of the organization in order to maximize efficiency and mitigate any potential risks throughout the project. This also means the project manager must have a deep understanding of the company's assets that are available to them and to the project team. The project manager uses this knowledge and company assets to develop the business case for the project. Every company has unique assets that need to be used by the project manager. Some assets include tools and templates available through the program management office, while other assets include resources such as lab space or office space. It's important for the project manager to understand all of the resources available to them to achieve the project's goals. Initiating the project also means developing and sharing documents that show the value of the project to the business or to the customer. Remember, projects create value, and part of the responsibility of the project manager is quantifying and effectively communicating that value to stakeholders. This is accomplished through what is called a project charter. Planning the project. Project managers must also plan. This may seem intuitive, but there is a well-defined process to project planning. While planning the project manager will plan activities and how those activities will be done. This is where the project manager defines the project activities, including activity duration. They determine the cost and the resources needed to accomplish each of the tasks, and they build a project schedule. Another important planning step is to identify any potential risks to the project. The project manager will use project management tools to address and mitigate those risks before the project begins. Next, we have project execution. Project managers then execute the project. This is the point where we bring together the project team. A good project manager will collaborate with the team to set ground rules for how the team will communicate and address any changes to the scope during the project. During project execution, the team launches the project. This includes procuring the resources necessary as well as determining the project's milestones. Once the project is launched or executed, the project manager has a responsibility to make sure that the project is on track to meet milestones. They must also make sure the project performance and standards for quality are being met along the way. The project manager will monitor the project by collecting performance data and comparing that to predetermined metrics. For example, if I were managing a project to develop a marketing plan for a new product being introduced, and during month 3 we were supposed to present a branding strategy, and it comes to month 3, the milestone for month 3 is the delivery of that formal brand strategy, and let's assume we're currently in the 3rd month and I'm behind schedule and I am also under budget. As a project manager, I have the responsibility of measuring our project progress to milestones, and implementing a response to the risk of a late deliverable. One way we can control the project is by implementing that risk mitigation strategy we identified during our planning stage. This could be something like assigning another branding specialist to the project to assist, or hiring an outside firm to help us meet the branding deadlines. While collecting data, it's also important for the project manager to communicate that data and the project status to the stakeholders that need to know this information. It's also in this step that the project manager becomes a problem solver, and we'll jump into this much more detail later. It's also the responsibility of the project manager to close the project. They are responsible for gaining customer or client approval for meeting the requirements of the project and turning it over to the client. The project manager is also responsible for final project documentation and writing a project report. It is also important for the project manager to reflect and share lessons learned from their project to guide future similar projects.
Each of these 5 responsibilities of the project manager align with something the Project Management Institute refers to as project management process groups. Within each of these responsibilities or process groups, there are specific areas of knowledge a project manager must possess. We will provide an overview of these knowledge areas along with some tools and techniques associated with those areas in the following lessons.